Hey gamers, what is up? It's J104 here, and today we're going to be talking about a interesting game, that being AEW's Fight Forever. Now, as some of you may know, I've mentioned it in a video before, but I am currently back on the tracks of being a massive wrestling fan. I actually have a kind of a large video coming out on WWE 2K25. Which was supposed to be finished by today, but I got distracted playing the actual game. So that's not going to happen because I still have like an hour worth of editing to do for that video. But last week I was checking out the current Steam spring sale coming on, and AEW's Fight Forever was a staggering $5. And well, I heard a lot of bad things about the game upon its release, but for $5, well, I'm going to check it out, aren't I? And well, I have racked up a fair amount of playtime. I have 6 hours, and I'm probably not going to play much more, which I think that statement alone might tell you enough about how I feel about the game. But to get started, for those of you who don't know, AEW is WWE's current competitor in the landscape of professional wrestling. And well, the state of AEW is something that I always think has been interesting, to say the least. When they started back in 2019, incredible. I think there's even a point, maybe pandemic era sort of time, when the product on a week-to-week basis that AEW was putting out was that of a higher standard of WWE. Now, is it like that anymore? I don't believe so, no. Unfortunately, I think AEW has been cursed with a lot of, let's say, bad events. Obviously, most famously, there's the Brawl Out event where CM Punk punched a bunch of people backstage, apparently. And I think like many people, like I'm not a massive AEW fan. I watched it because I think they have incredible wrestlers, which we'll get to in a moment. But I would watch it occasionally just to see the good matches and to see how they sort of treated CM Punk's Evil. I think they look worse. Like they want to make WWE and Punk look bad, but they sort of just looked bad. But this also does not have much to do with the actual game. It's just sort of what AEW is. So the game itself was announced, I believe, back in 2021. When WWE's 2K games were absolute gutter trash from what my research has said. So they announced in a good time. Then some screenshots for the game came out and the characters looked absolutely horrendous. Now, of course, graphics is not the end all, a all, be all, most important thing in a video game, but you still want it to look okay. And well, of course, those early cutscenes and graphics and trailers we saw were just that, early pre-production works. But after playing the game on its release, the characters still don't look right. How I would describe it is obviously in like the WWE My Rise stories, you have the real life wrestlers who look pretty realistic. But then you have your custom My Rise superstars who don't look bad, they just look different, if that makes sense. I don't know, but that's how all of the AEW superstars look. Just like sort of that custom superstar from WWE sort of look like they're all a bit too smooth and pixel looking, I guess. And the game did not improve after launch. It still looks, well, it looks better than the earlier pictures we saw, but not much better. And then there's, what do you do in the game? Like, I've only played 6 hours and I'm done with the game. How is that possible? Well, there's a Battle Royale game mode, but it's Battle Royale, so I'm not even going to talk about that. I dislike most Battle Royale games. And also, currently, AEW's Fight Forever does not have the player base to support it. And then there's, of course, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, triple threat, fatal 4-way matches. Barbed wire death matches are in the game. That's pretty cool. That's a fun match to have. But then after you've finally found a match, you're not going to do the same match constantly all the time. And there's very limited match types, which just get a bit boring after a while. And then you can always make different people fight. Problem with that, now I've brought the base game because I don't want to pay any more than $5 for this game. And unfortunately, not the largest selection of wrestlers. Now, of course, since this game was announced so long ago and released 2023, there was a lot of changes to the AEW roster between the game's initial inception and now. Like, for example, in the game you have the likes of CM Punk, Penta, Jade Cargill, Cody Rhodes. And you know what all of those four have in common? They have all left AEW, but yet have prominent roles in the game. And then the problem with that is obviously superstars leave and come back, and it's like a revolving door. Both AEW and WWE will probably constantly be trading superstars until one of them goes bust. But since the game is so old, at least in terms of its rosters, you also don't have a lot of the new guys, like your Jay White, Tony Storm, Will Ospreay. The likes of that are also not in the game. Now, there are DLCs, but I'm not buying the DLCs. And I think you shouldn't have to buy DLCs in order for a game to have enjoyable amounts of content. They should be an added bonus, but not required for the game to be fun. And then there is the AEW Fight Forever story mode, Road to Elite, which is actually kind of fun. Like, I have enjoyed it, and that's where most of my playtime has been centered in. Unfortunately, however, it's just not going to keep me playing the game. Like, there's an achievement for doing it 10 times, and I just don't want to do that. And it also doesn't help. I don't like the controls. I think I'm so used to WWE 2K's controls, it'll take me a bit to get used to Fight Forever controls. So yeah, AEW's Fight Forever, is it a good game? No. Should AEW try again? Yes. I think, listen, AEW don't need to be releasing video games yearly. WWE does that, and they have issues with some of them. And some could be very hit or miss. Maybe they release yearly updates to the roster, or even if you want to try to make it a forever game, which I think you need to at least do AEW Fight Forever 2 and make that a forever game. But release yearly roster updates, and then if you're signing like a really big talent, let's say, wild scenario, I don't think this would ever happen. Actually, I'm pretty sure it will never happen, but let's say at the end of this year, AEW signed John Cena somehow. You could then immediately push him out into the game, and then you have that updated roster, which would be, and then you got the, people who love John Cena, which there is a lot of them, might buy your game just to play as him. But if he's not in the game immediately, I don't know, am I blabbering just a little bit? Yes. Is AEW's Fight Forever dead? Yes. Should they make a new game? Yes. Should it be called AEW Forbidden Door? And then maybe you can get a bunch of New Japan wrestlers in there as well? That's a good idea. But anyways, I've been rambling enough. If you like wrestling games, make sure to subscribe so you can see next week's video, which will hopefully be the WWE 2K25 video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.